Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start today's video with a hilarious tale from the world of food service, featuring a Karen who just couldn't let a good deed go unpunished. Karen mad about getting a free sandwich and acts as if I'm an idiot. So this happened a few years back at my old place of employment, but sometimes it just resurfaces in my head and makes me laugh. I used to work in food service as a manager for nearly a decade, so I have a mountain of Karen stories. This is nowhere near the worst Karen I've had to deal with, but I think she was by far one of my favorites despite being relatively mild. She wasn't outright rude, just incredibly condescending. This was during the pandemic, so while we were already incredibly short-staffed, we were also training new staff, so having a lack of experienced staff, mistakes were going to happen. Our dining room had just opened back up to full service rather than just takeout, so it was added chaos on top of that. That day, I was stretched thin between trying to help the new red shop up front by traying up orders and trying to help the drive-thru coordinator, bagging orders and handing them out. She wasn't new, but it wasn't a spot she was in often. While being an easy spot, it was fast-paced. At a point where I wasn't over there to help, she had accidentally slipped a sandwich for a different order into the bag for a customer she was helping at the window. She recognized the mistake afterwards, and the sandwich maker had to remake it. No big deal. I asked if the customer got only the wrong order or got their food as well, but she confirmed she just slipped in an extra sandwich by mistake, but still received the rest of her order correctly. As long as everyone receives what they pay for, it's fine. Free food isn't something to complain about so long as your order's otherwise correct. Or so you'd think. So when people called the store, I always made a mental note of caller ID. I did this because of repeat offenders, people who just always had a problem, and prank callers who just haven't figured out how to hide their numbers. So when the phone rang, I read the name and answered. Me. Thank you for calling store name. How may I? Karen. Yeah, I need a manager. Me. I'm OP, the AGM. How can I help you? Karen. I got a sandwich I didn't order in my bag. Me, realizing it was the situation from before. Oh yes, we're sorry about that. We accidentally slipped an extra sandwich in your bag. You can keep... Karen. I didn't ask for a chain-specific sandwich. Me. Oh, I'm sorry. Was everything else in your bag correct, or were you missing something? Karen. I got everything else, just a sandwich I didn't ask for. Me. Yes, we had a mix-up at the window and accidentally added someone else's sandwich. You weren't charged for that sandwich. Mistakes happen. I apologize. Karen. I know. I have the receipt. I'm not complaining about the free sandwich, despite the sandwich being the reason she called. Me. Okay, so was there an issue otherwise? Karen. Yes, I just wanted to tell you guys that you do not know what you're doing. And if I had the corporate number, I would call them and file a complaint. Now, I loved when people threatened to call corporate because corporate doesn't actually intervene. They just escalate the issue directly back to the store to deal with either the AGM, me at the time, or the GM. Since their beef was with the store, it was better for it to be resolved at a store level rather than having some bigwig who's never even touched a fryer basket step in. It always ended up as a slap in the face to Karen and a waste of their time. Me. Well, I'd be more than happy to give you the corporate number. Karen, long pause. No, I'm not going to waste my time. You guys have no clue what you're doing. Just know that I will not be coming back. Me. Perfect. Have a nice day. She hung up and I went back to what I was doing. About an hour later, the phone rings. It's her name on caller ID. It's now around 14:30. She came through at about 13:30. Me. Thank you for calling restaurant name. How may I help you? Karen. Hi, was there for a pickup order about an hour ago and my ground beef was missing? So I was wondering if you just didn't have it in stock or if maybe you forgot about it? Me, realizing her beef wasn't with us this time. Ma'am, who are you trying to call? Karen, says the name of the local grocery store in a loud, extremely condescending tone, spacing out every syllable. Me, mocking her tone, spacing out every syllable. This is restaurant name. She called me a very inappropriate name and hung up. I took one more call that day from a much more vile Karen and decided I was done answering phone calls. She has no friends or social life outside her home because she drove them all away with her lovely personality and doesn't know how to cope with it. So she has to harass people all day. And our second story. Want me to potentially break your Wii and void your warranty? Sure. Several years ago, I worked part-time as a second job at Best Buy behind the customer service desk. I was pretty much only responsible for returns and exchanges, assisting Geek Squad members when they were busy, customer pickups, etc. Most of the customers were fine, but you always had the ones who you would just do anything to get rid of. One lady came in late at night for Geek Squad to look at her Nintendo Wii. The one GS agent at the time was with a customer, so I was able to help her out. She said that one of her kids got a disc stuck in the console and wanted to see if anything could be done before she had to send it away to be fixed or replaced. So I took the Wii to test it. At my store, we had a TV behind the CS counter to test consoles before returning or trading in, so I hooked it up to see what happened. There was no indication that anything was inside the console. I told the lady this, and she could see as the TV was facing the store, but she insisted there was a disc stuck inside. I then took a Wii game that we had behind the counter and put it in the console. The console immediately recognized it and loaded up Wii Sports, but she was still not convinced. Me. There was nothing in there. If a disc is stuck in there, I wouldn't have been able to put this game in and load it up. Lady. That's ridiculous. My kid put something in there and it wouldn't work before. I know what I saw. Me. I'm not sure what else you'd like me to do. I'm telling you, there is 100% no disc stuck in there. Lady, if you take it apart, you'll find it and you'll know I'm not crazy. Me. I'm not taking that apart. That would A, void your warranty, so if anything actually happens to it, you're out of luck, and B, we can't put it back together, so you'll need to do that or have someone else do it. Lady, I don't care at this point. It's a matter of principle. You're calling me a liar, and I want you to prove yourself wrong. Me. 1 second. So I go back into the Geek Squad hideout and talk to the GS manager about this lady. I tell her that she basically wants me to completely take her Wii apart to find a disc that's not stuck inside. Thankfully, my store had great managers at the time, and she basically said, do what she wants and let her leave with a bag of parts. She came out with me and told the lady exactly what I did, that the warranty would be voided and we would not put it back together. She said she was fine with it. I went back out with a toolkit and started taking the Wii apart on the counter in front of her. About 10 minutes, several loose screws, and multiple Wii console pieces later, I get to the part where you take the DVD drive apart. Surprise, there are no discs inside. The look on the customer's face when she saw the DVD drive come apart just to see no disc inside was sweeter than the nectar of the gods. It was just that look of, I effed up, and now I have to feel like an idiot. I could tell she was ready to blow her own brains out. Me. You want me to bag it up for you? Lady. Yeah. I grab one of the fancy clear plastic bags and just kind of scrape the pieces into the bag like you scrape crumbs off the counter, seal the bag, and hand it to her. She said nothing and left sad. Edit. For people asking about voiding the warranty, I haven't worked at Best Buy in about 3 to 4 years, and this particular incident happened about 6 years ago. At the time, as far as I can recall, if a certain seal on the outside or inside of the console was broken or tampered with, it voided the warranty. And as far as our company policy at the time went, we couldn't repair or return any console where the seal was tampered with. It may very well have changed since then, I don't know. Plot twist. She wanted the Wii destroyed because her kid played too much and now she can blame it on Best Buy. And our next story. The coffee machine? Okay, hope you don't mind which one. So this one happened just a few days ago in my own home, and my partner's ability to do malicious compliance in real life cracks me up. So I wanted to share this one. For Christmas, I got my partner a Keurig. He's an avid coffee drinker, and before this, he had a Tassimo. But for personal reasons, we live in my mother's crowded house, and the Tassimo, while brand new when opened, came pretty much broken. But it's all he had access to, and it's all we could afford. The thing can't run without making a ton of noise, but I know my house too well and can honestly tell you no one takes care of anything. Everyone uses my stuff and constantly breaks it or wrecks it in some way and are woefully unapologetic about it. I'm just used to it. But when I spent all this money on the Keurig, I wanted it to be just for my partner. Since my mother said no one else drinks coffee in the house, she wasn't really wrong. They, for the most part, drink barely anything caffeinated. However, recently, since the Keurig is left in the kitchen, we've both come to realize they had intentions of using the Keurig without our permission. Not that we would normally mind, but in the last 2 weeks alone, about 3 things of mine have been broken. We weren't taking that risk and moved it down to my room. It's produced no smell and was making no fuss, but while out the other day, I received a text questioning where the coffee machine went. I know she's not that clueless because she's talked to me about the Keurig before when she was considering buying him one for Christmas. She just tried to play dumb so I wouldn't know she wanted it upstairs for them to use it. When I told her it was downstairs for convenience, she went off. It all boiled down to, it can't be downstairs in your room because I said so. And to make it look like it wasn't about using the machine, she even threw in some stuff about moving out if we wanted to live like we had our own apartment and whatnot. I was livid. My partner, however, determined that he wasn't going to let them use whatever Keurig pods they bought and didn't want to tell us they had, so my partner brought his old Tassimo back upstairs. The look on my mom and her fiancé's face was priceless. They looked so annoyed and wouldn't even speak to us, nor say a word. They won't dare ask why the Keurig isn't upstairs. It's been about 2 days since then, and my mother still shoots us daggers whenever my partner makes coffee. Sounds like your parents have some of that what's mine is mine and what's yours is mine too attitude. And our last story. The HOA is suing everyone. A guy in my parking garage was parking in a way that blocked me and my family from accessing the entry door, forcing us to walk around to use a door further away. I left a note on his car asking him to park so we could get through. I didn't curse or use any threatening language. He continued to park so we could not use the door. After a few months of this, I emailed the management and HOA about the parking issue, but never got a response back. I thought my email might have gone to spam and the manager's office did not allow visitors to come in due to social distancing, so I printed out the letters and left them outside the doors of the board member's apartment. I only did this because I received no email response despite my multiple emails to the management and board after a week. The board meeting was the next day, so I didn't have time to mail the letters, which I would have done if I'd had more time. I specifically wrote on the top of the letters that I thought my emails might have gone to their spam, so I figured I'd give them a physical copy. The next day, the HOA said that my leaving of the letters was illegal and they would be taking legal action against me. The content of my letter was not threatening in any way whatsoever. It was just to explain the parking issue I'd been having. I know the delivery of the letters was not the best, but I in no way thought that it was harassment or intimidating, especially since the content was literally about the parking issue. The HOA got the HOA lawyer to say he was going to file an injunction against me. I decided I should have a lawyer talk to the HOA lawyer. The HOA lawyer said he was going to send me a cease and desist letter instead, but my lawyer and him eventually smoothed things over and the HOA lawyer dropped it. The HOA just escalates issues and makes things worse instead of actually trying to solve problems. They're currently in a legal issue with a small business owner on our street and have also taken legal action against other residents. Too bad so much of the residents' money is being spent on legal fees instead of actually making our community a better place to live. Edit. They said it was illegal because the letter was harassment. I never would have thought leaving a non-threatening letter one time would ever be considered illegal or even harassment by any reasonable person, but I guess reasonable people aren't usually the type to be on the board. Update. So the guy kept blocking a door and we called the fire department, preventing a person from using an exit as a fire code issue, so the guy got what he deserved in the end. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.